What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat, a video game show. I am one of your hosts, Jarrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno to you as well. How are you this fine evening?
You did not comment on either my haircut
Oh, I apologize.
or
it looks great.
or my adorable little peach earrings. Aren't they so cute?
I thought you were going to say you got a new one since you were talking about doing that.
No, not yet. I think I'm going to do it in October.
Oh, okay.
When
Nice.
the when the paycheck hits. Am I right, fellow poors?
Well, no, the haircut looks great.
Thank you. Mostly I have to get my new piercing right after getting a haircut so that there's less hair to get tangled in the new piercing,
makes
people.
sense. That makes
you
sense.
got to plan ahead unless you're like Jarrett and you don't have to plan for that kind of stuff.
I mean, no, not anymore.
No,
I
not
used
anymore.
to.
Yeah.
I used to have a luscious mane of hair.
But not piercings.
No,
So-
just the one.
Oh, just the one. So
Just the
you've
one.
squandered your opportunities
I
to
mean,
get
I'm
your.
not opposed to getting more. I just haven't felt the. I'd rather get more tattoos than piercings. But I might make the jump back to it at some
Two
point.
almost equally expensive hobbies, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Why did we have to pick
the
these
piercings?
things?
Way cheaper though, or I guess can be, and
It
quicker.
It can be. It's much faster. One and done.
Yeah,
and then
just
you
a
just
quick
have
little
to.
poke.
Then you just have to keep spraying it with salt water for like 5 months, so it doesn't.
I'm honestly shocked. I'm looking at myself on the wrong side here. I'm honestly shocked that I didn't get infected with this one. Just
Really?
because it was my first time
Was it
ever
with
having
the
to take
gun?
care of that. No, it was needle.
Oh, okay. They did it right.
And stuff like that. I went to actually Diablo Rojo.
Nice.
And so it was the first time ever getting that done. And so the first time I'd ever had to care for something like that on my person,
okay.
And so I'm just shocked with myself. I must have been scared to death of it getting infected because I did not let that happen.
Well, so back in my day, they used to give you first of all, the guns, like the piercing gun used to
Yeah.
be the much more commonplace thing.
Right, you go to, Claire's in the mall.
Everybody my age, every girl under the age of 15 back in the 90s and early 2000s got their piercings done at a Claire's or Claire's adjacent business.
How
where
old were you when
those
you got
pe-
yours done?
My original piercings were for my 12th birthday.
Oh, fun.
And for those of you who are from Murfreesboro, I know at least one of you, it was at the jewelry store that used to be next to the Hastings before I
Hastings.
presume they both closed. I think it was called 24 Karat or something like that. It was a fancy jewelry store. I don't know why we didn't go to Claire's. Maybe we didn't have one in town at that point. Maybe it wasn't super popular yet.
Trusted the cleanliness of the gun at an actual jewelry store and not Claire's.
I mean, it's all still the gun, which is just not as reliable. So
Yeah.
anyways, the point is they used to give you both the gun, which is not great, and then they would actually tell you to twist your piercing because they were like, oh, if it's getting stuck or crusting over,
Oh,
just
yeah.
twist it.
Is that not good?
No, they tell you. So the modern
so much
day
today.
treatment and care is touch your piercing as little as possible.
Okay.
Basically, whenever you feel the need, don't twist it for starters.
Sure.
B, don't touch it because the bacterial transfer
hands,
from your
yeah.
hands is much more likely to cause you an infection than anything else.
That makes sense.
They also used to tell you to dip your earlobes in a cap full of hydrogen peroxide.
Okay, I feel like
clean them.
I feel like I maybe did that.
Yeah.
Or at least did a Q-tip with dipped in it and rubbed it on it. And
So,
this ear.
I feel like that's probably still fine, right? Because it's hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah.
But what they told me when I got my more recent piercings is no, don't use hydrogen peroxide. Just use a saline wound wash. So that's the
that's
modern,
way
at
easier.
least at the place that I got my piercing, that's what they told me. They told me don't touch it, don't touch it, don't touch it. And if you do have to touch it, just spray a saline wound wash on it.
I definitely feel I don't remember my care routine for it, but I definitely know that I was spinning this thing all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was wanting it to not get stuck.
Yeah,
And I was
exactly.
that just feels like that's wrong. If it gets stuck, then it's going to be stuck that
It's
way.
going to be stuck forever,
And
right?
I'm not going to have fun with that. But no, it healed up quite nicely, and I'm impressed with myself.
Yeah,
so
very
I'm
nice.
very proud of myself for that.
Welcome to Team Chat
Welcome.
Piercings, everybody. Here at the TCP, this is for all of your
It's all the
piercing
news
needs.
and updates on the
Except
piercings
it's not
you need to know
real.
about.
It's more I heard from somebody who knows a cousin who knows somebody. It's
Yeah.
very secondhand knowledge.
Yes, I have one bit of experience with it, and that's all. So getting the information might not be the best, but you're hearing it from us first. There you go. But if you'd also like to hear some other stuff from us first, you can hear us talk about video games, the ones we love, the ones we hate, and everything in between when new episodes come out each and every week. And you can listen to those on podcast services around the World Wide Web, as well as watching a video version of each episode over on our YouTube channel. Links for all that are in the description below. You can also find us on social media at Facebook, Threads, and Instagram. We also have a Discord server that you can join and talk with us when we're not here recording the show. And finally, if you'd like to help make the show bigger and better, just like Allison H, Ark, Brandon W, Bro Mogan, Super Saiyan Ace, Erica L, Elise F, James K, Michael B, Michael S, Snooty Boots, Susan M, and Zach S have done, they have headed over to patreon.com/Team Chat Podcast, whereas for as little as $1 a month, you can support the show. And in return, we give you cool perks like getting the episodes early before their general weekly release and access to a private channel on our Discord server, The Rogues Gallery. You also, at the $5 level, get Team Chit Chat, which is our show where we talk about things not related to gaming at all. They're shorter, they're a little bit more condensed, but you get to know a little bit more of our thoughts and opinions on things that, just aren't related to gaming at all. I'm really stretching this out just
I know, it's really tough.
Trying to do the heart emoji here. But if you can't support the show that's totally fine. We completely understand. And there are free ways you can do it, such as telling your friends, writing us reviews, and subscribing wherever you listen to or watch the show. And for that, we love each and every one of our viewers, patrons, listeners alike. Heart
emoji, smooches,
Got to it at
XOXO.
just the right amount of time.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, before we get into the main topic of the day, we actually have quite a bit of news to talk about.
I mean, really, it's almost all news today.
Yeah,
Not
it's
entirely, but
almost
close.
all news today, because literally like an hour and a half before this we sat down to record, PlayStation hosted a new State of Play with updates on over 20 games, and it was like a 35-minute presentation and stuff like that.
Short.
So we're going to be talking about some of our favorite announcements. But before we get to that, let's hear a little bit of what's coming out soon.
Yes.
In our moment with Mogan.
Because we do actually have a couple of things coming out at the very end of the month and or October that are high on my own personal list, at least.
Yeah, quite a few actually
So
coming up
we
at the end
are
of this year.
not going to backtrack too much. I feel like we're actually pretty well caught up this time around. So as of this episode's release date on September 26th, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Just doing a little bit of mental math there. All of the following are out now. So this is the one that I care about. The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom.
Oh, wow, so soon.
It's so soon.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
That's cool.
I do really want this game. I'm honestly not sure if I'm going to get it on release date, but like this is at the very least a winter game for me, because
sure.
it seems like it's going to be a nice, cozy. I mean, I'm using the word cozy there very liberally, because what is one person's cozy is another person's stress.
Right.
I feel like this is going to be a nice, cozy winter game for me, so I feel like I'm probably going to pick that up for myself around the holidays. But The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom is out exclusively for the Switch on September 26th.
I really thought that was like a November game.
No, it's right fucking now.
That's great.
Balatro is out for Android and iOS. Worms Armageddon Anniversary Edition is out for Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S on the 26th as well. So is Sea Smash VRS New Dimension, for the PS5. EA Sports
In the game.
FC25. That's soccer, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
it's their new FIFA. Because they don't, for whatever reason now, can't have use FIFA in their name.
Oh, right.
So
they
it's-
lost the rights or
yeah,
something.
so it's
Like their
football
contract
club.
expired. Gotcha. All right. So EA Sports FC25 is out for basically everything that is modern and PS4 and Xbox Series. Xbox One, the previous gen. That's coming out on September 27th. So is Ray Nautis for PC, Switch, PS4, and PS5. On the 30th, we have Silence of the Sirens, early access for PC. That sounds like a spooky game. I hope it is. Starfield, Shattered Space DLC. Is this the one with the car?
Yeah, get the car. Get hyped. Get hyped,
hyped for
Starfield
that
fans.
car, people. Shattered Space DLC is out for Xbox Series X and S and PC on the 30th. Oh, we actually just saw this game. Metro Awakening VR is coming. I guess before this.
Oh, yeah.
Before this, it didn't have a firm release date, but Metro Awakening VR is coming out very soon for PSVR 2, MetaQuest, and Steam VR. And then
Very
leading
cool.
us into just a little bit of the beginning of October, we've got Sword Art Online Fractured Daydream, fellow weebs, am I right? Sword Art Online, people like it, I guess. That's for the Switch on October 3rd. On the 4th, we have Until Dawn.
Oh, nice. The
for
remaster.
for PC and PS5.
Very cool.
Yes, the
Very cool.
remaster. I wonder if they reduce the amount of teeth in the
That would be
remaster.
wonderful to know. I'm honestly curious to see that because we've been doing in our Team Chat
playthrough.
Plays show that we do over on Twitch where we just do Mogan and I sit down and stream a game together. We've been doing Until Dawn. We've done
And it has
2
been very
sessions.
fun.
It's so
Yeah.
fun, very fun game. But one of the things I did not remember from the first time I played this game was how much teeth the characters show when they're talking. Because I will say, for when the game came out, I remember being impressed with the
Oh, yeah,
visual
I think
fidelity.
everyone was. Like,
of
it was a
how this looks
groundbreaking game.
and the motion capture and all that stuff used for it. But oh my god, there are a couple scenes where they just show off those pearly whites, and they are massive.
I have two theories. One, they attached individual mocap sensors to every tooth. B,
Just really get that full range of motion.
or they didn't have any idea at the time how to properly mocap mouths. So
That's
that's
what
why
I feel
everything
like.
else looks pretty normal,
Yeah.
and then just the mouths and the teeth look really kind of fucked
That's
up
what I feel
sometimes.
like what has to be, especially with Peter Stormare as your physician or whatever. He like sits
analyst?
around. Yeah, the analyst. Thank you. And he like sits around and he's like flaring his teeth and nostril. I can't even do it, but it's just like
It is so,
it's so
weird.
in like the weirdest places and times and inflections. But anyway,
It's
the
a
game itself
delight. It is a
we're having
weird
a lot
delight.
of fun. So look out for our Discord and stuff like that whenever
Yeah,
we announce we're going
fantastic.
live with the next part.
And then closing out the end of next week on October 4th as well, the Patrick Star game for Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S. I didn't know Patrick was getting a game. How
Zelda
fun.
and Patrick getting their own starring video games in the
look at
same year.
that.
Love it.
We love to see it.
All right. Well, following on with the news out there, we got from the State of Play
Now-
from today, September 24th, 2024.
Real quick, before we get into that, I do want to briefly circle back to another
Oh,
piece
that's
of
right.
news.
That's right. You told
so
me this before we started.
So this is, first of all, not new news. This dropped about, I want to say 2 weeks ago, give or take, and it's a follow-up to an older story. So do you remember last year when Unity had that big debacle where they...
Something they were doing with Unreal Engine, and
Yes.
it's like how they
So,
charge for it, right?
Let me catch everybody up. So Unity is like it's a very popular game creation engine, particularly among indie developers.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of beloved and very successful indie games like Spiritfarer, and I'm forgetting
Cult of the Lamb, I feel like,
Cult
came
of
up
the
in
Lamb.
that- in that
a lot
conversation.
of Neon White. A lot of those were built in Unity. But last year, Unity, who I think merged with some other company back in like 2020,
Mm-hmm.
and like half of their board got replaced, and they are probably behind who enacted all of these changes. It's a whole big thing. But anyways, so last year, I'm getting this from an article from The Verge called "Unity has eliminated its controversial runtime fee by Ash Parrish." She does write that last year, Unity caused a stir within the game development community with a controversial update to its pricing model. Instead of charging developers the set monthly rate based on the number of users using the software, it would instead implement a pay-per-download scheme. So even if you owned the game already and you uninstalled and reinstalled it, that would count as another download.
Okay.
So, another install.
And another time that then the developer would have to pay for.
Exactly. That would charge developers every time their game was downloaded. That meant instead of paying a flat, predictable rate to Unity, payouts could fluctuate, resulting in potentially higher fees.
Yeah.
And I'm
Like
not
you get punished for having a successful game.
exactly. And I'm not getting this from the article. I just know that this was the case. I'm sure the article goes into it. But the other part of that was they were backdating that policy.
Oh.
That was a big part of the hoopla.
I did not remember that.
Is that they were going to retroactively enact that. And it was, basically everyone that had partnered with Unity felt like the rug was being pulled out from under them, and
Rightly
they were
so.
getting bait and switched. So there was a massive community outcry, and the end result of all of that outcry and all of the backlash that Unity faced is that a bunch of the people from the merger either left or got fired,
Okay.
and they have officially completely rolled back the policy.
Well, that's great news.
So it's not like they did change their pricing structure still, but that pricing structure is going into effect next year, and they have publicly pledged that from now on they are no longer going to basically spring those kinds of pricing updates that don't
hope.
align with the annual rollover period. Every subscription for an enterprise software like that, it typically goes on an annual contract
Right.
basis. Or if you're a huge enterprise, you might have a much longer contract period
Mm-hmm.
than that. But they're not basically going to spring stuff like that on developers anymore, which they shouldn't have in the first place.
Right. It was a scummy move.
Yeah, a mistake that they clearly paid for, because they have had a lot of changes within their ranks since then, and they are having to formally roll back the policy and apologize for it. So what a win for game developers, everybody.
Love to see it.
Congratulations to all of us. And that does make me very happy for the future of indie games, because obviously we love indies on this channel. And if they got negatively impacted by some absolute bureaucratic horseshit, corporate bullshit like that, I would not be okay with that.
No.
So,
because we probably would have lost access to a lot of games.
just
or
some
lost...
rare good news from the world of corporate pay structure.
Definitely good news all the way around. So glad they're walking that back. All right, well, let's talk about this state of play that aired earlier today on September 24th. Now, we're not going to talk about everything because, like we said, there were like 20 plus games that they announced. We're really just going to hit on our the ones that excited us the most. The second game that they talk about was actually one of those for me, and I originally was about to write it off being like, oh, looks cool, but it's for PSVR 2 only. But actually, they revealed it's going to be for PS5 as well. It's The Midnight Walk, which kind of looks like a horror game, definitely a horror game. But the thing that makes it stand out is that it's a completely claymated game.
That's an incredibly ambitious way to make
it
a
looks
game.
awesome. Like, it looks so cool. And the trailer that they were showing off also looked like it's going to be kind of like a, I don't know. It looked weird. It looked bizarre. Definitely gave me some like Bramble
claymation
vibes.
looks like that. That's just
true.
the nature of
But
claymation.
this one looked especially more so. You remember that one movie? It wasn't claymation, but I think it was Tim Burton. 9. That was like all the like burlap sack.
Oh yes,
people.
I do remember
Kind
that.
of reminded me of that.
Wow,
Not quite
what-
so burlap sack, but still like in the same like odd design choices and stuff like that. The only real reason that movie or trailer sticks out of my mind, because I never saw the movie, was because they used a Coheed and Cambria song in the trailer, and it was awesome.
You're such an emo boy.
All right, another game that looked pretty cool is Hell Is Us. It looks like, honestly, Control meets God of War.
So I actually missed this trailer because I realized too late that my stream was 5 minutes behind everybody else.
Living in the dark ages.
I missed Hell Is Us. So describe this more, like what elements of Control specifically?
I would say aesthetically, it looks more like
Aesthetically.
it looks more like Control, because it seemed to be a lot of like that brutalist architecture kind of to some stuff, and like kind of how it had that old like 60s kind of like sci-fi vibe feel to it a little bit. Like the enemies that you fought were like these white beings who had like their faces were like caved in and like missing, almost like it looked like some kind of like hypnotherapy thing. Not Rorschach or anything like that. But
I do know what you're talking. I caught the very end of this trailer. I did see the white creatures, but I didn't catch anything else.
So, and then it kind of looked like they were being controlled by something else, which kind of like gave me reminiscence of
hiss vibes,
the hiss from Control and different stuff like that. But then the combat itself is not using pistols and telekinesis and things like that like Control, but it did kind of seem to have more of a melee magical flair that God of War uses. So it looked cool. The gameplay of it looked pretty fun.
I should go back and watch the whole trailer. That does actually sound pretty interesting.
I think it would be something up your alley.
Did it have a release date or was it just a teaser?
I think it was just a teaser. It was one of the early ones that they showed and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it was just a teaser. But one of these next ones, though, kind of got your attention, Fantasian Neo Dimension.
Yeah, so for people that aren't familiar with Fantasian, it was actually, I don't know how people say it. I say Fantasian.
Fantasian makes more sense than Fantasian.
Jared's just extra fancy today. He's a fancy boy. Fantasian Neo Dimension. This is actually something I'm unclear on. So people in the comments in the Discord, do please correct/inform me. I am not sure if this is just a port/remaster of the mobile game, or if this is a spin-off of the mobile game. Okay. Because Fantasian was a really popular, specifically iOS game. And I remember actually being pissed a few years ago when I was reviewing mobile games that I couldn't play it because it was for iPhone only.
Oh, really?
And
Not Android too?
And I didn't have an iPhone. I think it later got added to Android, but at the time that it would have been relevant for me, I couldn't play it. So I was always pissed off about it. But it looked so cool.
Yeah.
Because it has a very like Nier Automata vibe and look to it. Cool. I think it might actually share an artist from the Nier series because they look extremely similar if you look at them side by side. And it might even, like, the story might tie into the Nier universe if I'm not mistaken. But so what I'm unclear on is whether or not this is a port of the mobile game but for console, or if it is a reimagining, remastering, or new addition to the Fantasian universe. But the TLDR is Fantasian looks like a really cool turn-based JRPG styled game, and it's got a really unique visual look to it.
Yeah, that's what drew my eye. The gameplay itself, I was like, no, not my cup of tea. But the art style of it looked great.
The art style and the environments, they described them as dioramas.
They said handmade dioramas.
Handmade dioramas.
That's like the claymation. That's cool.
It's some sick stuff.
Yeah.
I love when you see these elements of like the practical world, like the built world actually being used in video games. I think that's super fun. So Fantasian Neo Dimension did actually get a formal December 5th release date.
Nice.
I'm not sure if I will actually pick this one up. I'm not sure about the gameplay yet, but it looks really promising, and I'm sure there are a lot of people that are going to really like it.
Very cool. This next one, we are both, I think, very excited for. And it was some gameplay for Dragon Age the Veilguard, which I will say, I have, since recently completing Inquisition and knowing this game was coming up soon, October 31st is the release date for this one, I was kind of like, I want to stay kind of like radio silent on it. I don't really want to know too much.
I needed to know a lot more.
But I've been looking, but you still see things here or there. And this came on and I was like, well, I'm not going to turn this off. I'm invested.
Mute it.
Exactly. And I'm fucking sold. Like, I wasn't on the fence about it before. I knew I was going to play this game, but honestly, after seeing this gameplay and some other things that I've seen about it recently, it moved it up to potentially it might have to be a day one purchase.
Ooh, okay. Interesting
because
choice.
It looks so good.
And honestly, if you're going to play it, you probably do need to get a solid lead time on Civ 7 release.
Yes,
so, I mean,
that's
just
true.
From a practicality standpoint.
It's true. I got to plan this out. There's a lot of stuff coming up.
I'm not up against the Civ timer, so I can go at my leisure, but you probably need to go ahead.
What is that? What did they say? The 15th, I think, for Civ 7? Yeah, it's going to be a big day when that comes out. But yeah, so I need to get a good head start on the Veilguard. Yeah. But just even this, what it showed was like a part of the story where you later wind up fighting some dragons, and I think get a hint at a potential big bad in the game and everything. But it was one where it was switching between the game. The combat itself is way different than not way different from Inquisition.
I don't know. It looked pretty different to me.
I mean, it looked for more the same view, like a third person view, more a la God of War. Again, I know I keep using that example for games, but that kind of style of combat, but just in with the flair of like all the move sets of Dragon Age. But like your combat was so much more fluid. You had so much more just maneuverability in general. Yeah, you didn't feel stilted and slow like in Inquisition.
Yeah, that was the thing that I picked up on immediately. I was like, whoa, that character is moving fast.
Yeah.
This looks very different from Dragon Age. Now, from Dragon Age Inquisition, I should specify. I have only ever played Inquisition, so I have a very limited scope of the history of the games, but at least from my perspective, I was interested to see that this trailer, from my eyes, didn't include any of the legacy characters.
I do know there will be some.
I know there are going to be some, but I thought it was an interesting choice to not
do it.
them.
Yeah,
I feel like that was actually a pretty solid decision because I think relying too heavily on the sort of beloved characters of the past does not always wind up serving a game's new potential.
Sure.
And it's been so long. It's been so long since Inquisition came out. I feel like that was sort of their stance of, okay, this is maybe what's going to help us bring in new players because we're going to, I'm not sure about this, but this sort of read to me as we're trying to build a distinction that new players can jump into this game.
We're not being like, hey, here's Morgan, here's Alistair,
here's Cassandra, here's Varric, he's back,
and all that stuff. So I'm curious to see it, but just also, I know they changed the art style up a little bit for a lot for this one, which I originally when I saw wasn't a huge fan of. It almost kind of looked like a step, I mean, newer obviously, but kind of like a step down in the realism scale, I would say. But it just looks.
It looks really good.
It looks so good. It's like, I don't know. I can't describe it. It's not like complete realism. It kind of it still has a very like animated look to it still, but it's
skews
like
a little more Overwatch
in
terms of being a little bit more like cartoon / anime. It's not really pulling on air quotes real world examples.
But when you see the combat and everything and how it all plays together, and too, I've seen some videos of granted on from a PC recording and stuff like that, but might not be able to get this from the PS5. But the hair animation, your custom character, not NPCs, how fluid and the hair animations are and stuff like that. I was like, God
I
damn, it's
wanted
looking good.
specifically to complain about that. I'd like to complain to management. And this is actually just a retroactive complaint because in my Dragon Age Inquisition playthrough, I picked a female Kunari. And I noticed that there was a female Kunari in the trailer.
Right.
And the female Kunari in the trailer had long, luscious, flowing locks.
You didn't get that in
But
yours?
when you make your custom Kunari in Inquisition, you don't get hair options. You exclusively do not get hair options. You can change your horns,
Yeah.
but there's no hair to go along
Because
with it.
you get horns instead of
and
hair.
the one in the trailer had both.
Yeah.
She had big horns
Well,
and
Kunari's
big hair.
evolved in the couple years since Inquisition.
I was thinking they either got mad wig game or,
Probably,
or
maybe
they
that too.
changed their DNA. But I was just like, it made me retroactively mad. I was like, how dare they
robbed me of
introduce
this
hair
experience.
now?
But it looks really cool.
Yeah, it
so
looks
that,
good.
like I said, like I'd been kind of staying away from stuff because I knew it was one I was going to play eventually, and just kind of wanted to see what it was going to be. But yeah, I'm fully sold. It looks great.
I'm trying not to get my hopes up too much because when we eventually do our Inquisition full review,
Yeah.
you will find that I have many issues with Inquisition.
Oh,
but
sure.
but I still like the game. But all of that to be said, I'm finding it really hard not to like root for Veilguard really hard.
Yeah.
Like even if I don't like the game, I still kind of want it to be successful because I want to see BioWare succeed again.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
they've
that's a
had
good
they've
point.
had
That's a good
such a
point.
rough few years, and I feel like this could potentially be the game to really put them back on the map. And
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
That would be great. That would be great to see. Another one that you were excited for, The Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remasters.
So-
coming out December 10th.
Coming out December 10th, I'm not really sure I would say excited about this game. More like, look at
Those
that.
games, yeah.
Those games. Because Legacy of Kain and the Soul Reaver games, I remember like seeing them remember back when they used to have gaming magazines?
Yeah.
Oh, they were all over the gaming magazines. The marketing was super hardcore. The cover looked so cool when I went to GameStop and picked up the PlayStation 1 game and I was like, Mama, can I have this one? And she was like, no.
That is
I-
the devil.
Yeah, exactly. I guess it looked like too demonic or too scary or something. So we were not allowed to play those games, and I always felt slighted over.
Well, now your time.
I mean, the funny thing is that now the time is coming. I'm like, I can probably do
I mean, it
without.
looked like an interesting, yeah, but I have no tie to it, so I was
Yeah,
just like, that's cool for the people. But it was interesting because I saw so many people, like this was leaked earlier today. This was
Yeah.
coming out, and I saw people reacting to it, and I was like, oh, cool. I've heard the title Legacy of Kain, but have no tie to it. So interesting though that coming out soon though, at least too.
I mean, mostly this just gives me hope that if a relatively not super popular game like Legacy of Kain can get a remaster, maybe there's hope for Legend of Dragoon.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day we can keep our fingers crossed for it. One we're both excited for, Monster Hunter Wilds.
Oh,
We got
yeah.
new gameplay, a little bit more story information, but
Boo.
the big exciting thing is we have a release date of...
December.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I botched it. I fucked it up.
You gotta do a drum roll.
It's February 28th, 2025. That's so soon.
That is soon.
Every time they showed that 2025 release date window, I was so sure this was going to be either a summer or holiday release.
Yeah.
To find that it is neither is frankly shocking. I mean, that feels like that's my timer. So Veilguard is now, I have to finish Veilguard before that game comes out.
And see what sucks is that literally comes out like 2 weeks after Civ 7. And unfortunately there's no contest in my mind which one I'm picking up first. So I'm excited for it, but also
You're going to wind up behind again.
I'm gonna
It's
wind
so
up behind
funny.
again.
We are going to wind up with the exact same cycle that we had before. It's going to be, now Bro Mogan I think will be able to make up the time.
Yeah.
But you and Bro Mogan are both going to be so heavily into Civ. It's just going to be me and Snoots my boots
Yeah.
on the Monster Hunter Wilds, but we'll be out there doing the Lord's work, killing monsters, making their hides into sick armor, sick gender-neutral armor,
Yep.
justice for the hunters, and all of those story cutscenes that we will skip.
but you saw a bunch of them in the trailer today.
Literally not what anyone...
Saw a lot
You
of
know
them.
what's funny? Even like during the trailer, all the story shit, I was like, why are they showing the parts no one cares about? We do not care about this.
Speaking of the palicos though, which I know you mentioned in the Discord
Palikitties.
chat while we were watching that, that's obviously a big selling point. That reminded me that Star Wars Outlaws has a like cooking minigame to feed treats for Nyx, your little companion.
That is
And
so
it's
cute.
very much formatted in the cutscene and everything, kind of like a Monster Hunter Wild cooking cutscene.
That's
So I need
cute.
to find a good video of it. Or I recorded one, I think, but then I think I flubbed up a lot of the quick time actions in it.
So you didn't want to
I
share it
didn't
'cause you
want
were
to share it 'cause I was embarrassed. Ones I definitely should have made, but it was also like midnight playing it. I
See,
was sleepy.
You would have let Mike die.
Oh, I absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that my QuickTime events haven't failed already until dawn and had a few deaths. All right, well, let's finish out this list really quick. Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered is officially announced, coming October 31st as well for a full price if you've never owned it before. But if you had the PS4 version before, you can get it for a $10 upgrade,
Which is
so
really
it's very
nice.
cool to see.
That's a cool guy move.
Stellar Blade is getting a new content update and an exciting crossover.
With Nier Automata. Very cool stuff. I don't know how deep that crossover is going to be. They didn't really go into detail on it. But visually, at least, it looks like you're going to sort of have maybe a skin that makes you look like
2B?
2B? Yeah.
Man, I'm impressed I knew
B2?
that.
I don't know. It's one of those. Not 9S. Yeah, it is 2B. It's 2B. Anyways, it looks very cool, and I know that a few people in our Discord are going to be very excited about that.
And then
Speaking of shit to get excited about,
some fancy ass new DualSense controllers and PS5 plate colors, the Chroma
they were
editions.
so they are like metallic-y.
Gradients and stuff, they're cool.
There's like a sort of radiant pearl white one.
That
which,
one looks really
That one
cool.
looks nice, but it's not the one I want. I thought the metallic blue one was really cool,
Yep.
but honestly, the metallic green one
The metallic
caught
green
my
one was
eye.
really cool.
because it's like dragon scale green.
Yeah.
It's a really good
It's like a
choice of
nice
green.
dark green. It's not
Yeah.
too bright neon
Oh,
looking.
yeah, it's real good
It
looking.
looks good.
I'm not sure if I'll actually bother with the full plate for the PS5, but at least the green controller, I'm going to be getting one of those sick ass
Yeah.
controllers. You can bet your buns.
I like the white one, honestly.
The white one did look super slick
Yeah.
because it makes the controller fully white.
Yeah.
And that just has such a clean, crisp
It really
look
did.
to
I
it.
liked it. I liked it
Yeah,
a lot.
looked pretty sick.
But the excuse me. But the last announcement of the day from this state of play was truly the one more thing mic drop moment of the showcase, and it is a Ghost of Tsushima sequel. Although it's not officially Ghost of Tsushima 2, it is Ghost of Yotei, and it is going to be awesome. The trailer looked fucking fantastic.
It looked phenomenal.
It's
it
gonna
looked
be
so good.
Like you need to play Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh yeah,
now.
absolutely. Like I've always wanted to. I know it's a good game, but now I'm like, oh
You
well,
gotta.
okay, well now I gotta.
Because it also is coming 2025, which is much sooner than I was anticipating.
Right.
I mean, that's going to be I'm thinking September, October title for sure.
I hope so, because I really hope that this doesn't wind up being a flubbed marketing campaign
Yeah.
where they crunch. And now this did not happen with the original Ghost of Tsushima game,
Right.
so I feel like that's not going to be a pitfall they fall into. But people have done it before. Game marketing teams make really stupid mistakes all the time, so I hope that it's going to be a fall or holiday 2025 release.
Yeah. So very exciting. They showed off the new hero who you don't get to meet yet, but she looks like really cool. I like the new color palette too.
We'll
The,
call her Judy.
Judy? Okay. I don't think that's going to be
It's
her name.
probably right.
But that's a great guess if it is. But I love the new color. Like the other one was like a Ghost of Tsushima was predominantly like whites and
Red,
reds.
yeah.
This one is going to be like whites and yellows.
And I loved
it's
how they
so
used
good.
it in the trailer. It
Yeah.
looked so good.
And it looks like you're also going to have a trainable dog companion, wolf companion.
I was about to say, it did look like
it's
wolf to
It's a
me,
straight
but
up
Jarrett
wolf.
wrote doggo in
I've
his
said pet doggo.
notes.
And so, like, Ghost of Tsushima, I've talked about it a ton. Just talked about its soundtrack last week's episode. The game blew me away. I am so excited for this. And it was the perfect, like it was in black and white when the trailer started. And so I couldn't tell. I was like, obviously this is set in Japan. Obviously it's going to be a Japanese game, samurai game. But I was like, I was hesitant to be like, is it Ghost 2? Because there had been like so many things of like that Rise of the Ronin,
Oh, yeah,
Trek
it's
to
such a popular-
Yumi,
yeah.
whichever one it is. And like, the popular genre, I was like, all the rumors and rumblings I had heard had said it was a ways away. Like it was going to be some time before it came out. So to get it and then finally see the pieces falling together that it's going to be the Ghost follow-up. Exciting stuff.
Very exciting stuff. And I feel like just so everybody knows, the yellow leaf that was in the logo, that's a ginkgo leaf.
Ginkgo leaf.
So the fancy tree that you saw at the end of the trailer that had all the yellow leaves on it, that's a ginkgo tree.
Those are incredible trees.
Yeah, they are. They smell very bad when they decay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Yeah, fun. We had one on campus.
Oh.
And it looked so pretty when the leaves were all bright yellow like that, and then they would fall, and it's like, oh, God.
Oh, really? Gross. Okay. Good to know. I was going to go plant one.
I'm not sure how they would do in Texas. I feel like that is not a Texas
seen
tree.
One somewhere, but I mean, seen or heard of them growing here. The only place I saw one that was when I was in Japan. But
Texas, Japan, similar
interchangeable
climates. We're interchangeable, really.
All right, well, let's jump over to the main topic of the day, which is one that we are been pretty excited and got into rather quick. Well,
I'm way in.
Mogan's way in. I'm
Jared's
still
not
like dipping
nearly
my
as
toe
in.
because I'm still working through Star Wars Outlaws. I've still got some stuff on my plate that I'm trying to get through there. But why don't you tell us your first impressions, or I don't know, full on review at this point with how many
not
reviews,
a full-on review,
how many
definitely.
hours you've got in it?
I do have 40 hours in the game.
Tell us about Valorant.
I put those 40 hours in very quickly.
Well, because it was only like what? A week and a half ago, 2 weeks that we started that we played it for the first time.
So here's the thing that I'm not sure about. I have just sort of been leaving the game on.
Oh.
So I think it's probably clocking a lot of screen. Like I'll just sort of leave it on the lobby when I'm not actually searching for a game.
I see.
Because I
don't
know
wanna
I'm
quit
going to
it and
come back
restart it.
later.
Yeah.
I don't want to quit and restart.
Yeah, it's probably counting some of
So
that, but still.
I would say that I have at minimum 25 hours of actual play time. I would say that feels a bit more true to where I'm actually at, probably around 25 to 30 hours. But so we are so late to the Valorant train.
Well, to be fair, it's because both of us didn't have at the time. Both of us didn't have access to PCs when it first came out. So we're talking specifically about its PS5 release.
So Valorant was released for PC back in 2020, of all things.
Wow, it's already 4 years old.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying.
Jesus, I thought that was within the last two at most.
No, it came out in 2020.
Holy shit!
Right. So it came out in 2020 for PC only, like Jarrett said, and then it got a PS5 and Xbox.
Yeah.
Did it get an Xbox
I'll
release?
double check. I think it did.
While Jarrett checks on that, it is definitely released for PS5, but notably does not have crossplay with PC, which personally I think is a good choice because I feel like for the type of game Valorant is, the people on controllers would be at a significant disadvantage.
Yeah. Well, it's just not. It's like a weird one. It does have cross progression though, right?
It has cross progression
between PC,
but
PS5,
not cross play. So like your lobbies are not intermingled when you're looking for games, which also means that if your friend has it on PC and you have it on PS5, you cannot play together.
Okay.
You both have to have it on the same platform.
Yeah, it is on Xbox too.
Okay, so yes, so it is now available for PC and the two major consoles, not including the Switch. Which is funny because graphically, I feel like Valorant could actually potentially hold up on the Switch.
Yeah.
Like, not incredibly well, but I feel like it could do it.
But do you want to try to be playing and being accurate on those Joy-Cons?
No, I do not.
No, thank you. I
no,
don't.
siree, Bob. So the TLDR is we are extremely late to the game on Valorant.
Yep.
So to catch everybody up about what Valorant is, it is a hero shooter with a twist because it is a tactical hero shooter.
All the Counter-Strikes.
Yes, it's more like a Counter-Strike. So yeah, I think that the gameplay was heavily inspired by Counter-Strike, but it also has these unique hero elements, sort of like Overwatch does, where each character has their own individual abilities, but at the start of every round, you purchase from a set menu of guns.
Yeah.
So like you have an armory at the start of every match, you get to use a certain amount of credits in each round that replenishes over time, and you have to sort of figure out how to balance your economy to purchase the weapons and upgrades for your character that you want/need for each round. So there's a little bit of equality to it.
Yeah.
In that if I'm playing one character and you're playing a different character, but we both buy the same gun, whether we're on the same team or facing off against each other on different sides of the map, we both have a certain amount of equality, at least with the like physical armory that we have available
Well, and because too, the abilities in and of themselves aren't like. Well, okay, this could be my inexperience. I was gonna say like they're not like massively like even those abilities are fairly balanced and just like different iterations of them spread throughout all the different characters. So even so, it's like I play mostly so far controller characters. That's just I like the big tankier or like control-y
Jared's been
heroes
playing
like
Brimstone and Harbor.
that. Harbor, both very fun. And
Harbor's
I did unlock, after I completed more stuff, something in there, I got another free agent coin and I got Breach.
Who's Breach?
He is another not controller. I forget his class. It's the first one on the menu because there's the 4 different classes. Sentinel.
He's an initiator.
Initiator. Thank you.
Okay, gotcha.
Initiator, Sentinel, Duelist, Controller.
Those are the 4.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't remember if there was 4 or 5. And so, so I mainly have been sticking with the controller, but I did want to get somebody different. So I got an Initiator, Breach. He can shoot like explosives through walls and barriers and stuff like that to kind of like help clear the area. Whereas like Harbor and Brimstone are more area control, blocking off, different angles or avenues to make it harder for enemies to do pushes and stuff like that.
Yes, I definitely agree with you on that, in that the 4 different archetypes of characters have a lot of overlap with what their abilities essentially do.
Right. Like Brimstone and Harbor, for example, they both put out like an orb blocker.
So people call those smokes. So all of those characters, and many of them do it, create these little like smoky orbs in the centers. I mean, not in the centers of the map, wherever your character chooses to put them within their unique abilities. Some can actually like pull up a map and point on the map and say, I want to put a smoke here and a smoke here. Others, like Omen, for example, he can sort of shoot an orb out and it goes out in front of him, and then he can kind of move it around to a little bit of an extent from there. Like I think he can move it forward and back, but I don't believe that he has like a full map view like Astra, Clove, and
Brimstone does that. Harbor kind of has a mix of that too, because Harbor will have the orb that he can throw. He has to throw it. He doesn't pinpoint it, but he throws it, and then it's stationary. But he does have Cascade, I believe is what the ability is called, where he can do a wall of water that pushes out, and you can stop it early if you want to like block off a wall, or you can just let it go for as long as it wants, and it will eventually hit its own stopping point. But still, for like, you could block off a whole wall and it's, it stays up for a little bit, but it's more of a direct screen, so it has some verticality to it more than what one of the orb smokes would do.
And other characters have similar abilities to that, like Viper, for example. She basically sends out like a straight vertical or just a straight line of, I want to call them like venom traps.
Okay.
And as soon as a character steps over them, they activate and it pulls up like basically a smokescreen wall, exactly like what the other one does. It just activates on a different cadence.
Nice.
And who else has one like that? The Duelist Phoenix has a similar wall. He can like throw out a smaller wall of fire, but his unique sort of catch for his wall is that it heals him. So if he stands in his own firewall, he actually gets a self-heal off of that. So all of the characters have a different mix of sort of the same base archetypes of what they can do. You can either control the field through traps, like for example, the Sentinels are a lot about sort of like basically a built-in alarm system, because I play a lot.
Handy.
It is so helpful. And 2 of the characters that I have right now are both very much built for that. So I've been playing Vice and Killjoy.
Okay.
Killjoy can send out little robots. So she can do like a little robot turret that can shoot things that are within a direct cone, within like a certain amount of feet in front of it. Or she has a little alarm bot that is invisible to the enemy to a certain extent. And if they don't catch it in time and it activates, first of all, Killjoy knows immediately.
Okay.
So whenever either of your bots activate, whenever your turret is shooting at somebody or your alarm bot activates, it notifies you that, hey, something's happening on this section of the map over here that I was not directly looking at. So very helpful for like covering your flanks, for example.
Right.
So you can quickly pivot and like alert the team, over there, we got a problem coming in. So it's really like being a watchdog.
Right.
Vice is very similar. She has like a thorn wall that will activate and trap somebody on one side of it after they walk over it, along with a couple of kits like being able to throw out these patches of thorns. She's got 2 of them in her kit.
Lot.
Yeah, and that just ensures that you can sort of block off a corner or make it difficult for somebody to get to you, or block off certain sight lines, just to manage the field a little bit better. The Sentinels and the controllers are both very good at that.
Because those smokes don't keep damage from happening. You can still shoot through it,
they just
but
block
it just
your
like
sight.
blocks your sight, which in this game is critical. Like I will say, obviously being able to see in like, shooters and stuff like that is a very
being able to
big,
see the game is important for the game.
With like understanding of that and like taking a feel for the map and everything like that. But this one specifically has you have very little health.
Yes.
It's like 2 shots.
Dude, and if you take a headshot from some of the weapons, you're just immediately
immediately done. And so whenever you take damage, it also like has a slowing ability where it's harder to move, slower to react.
As
and
soon
usually,
as you get clipped by a bullet, like if you take a body shot and you could live through it, you might not because it slows you down.
And it takes you so long to turn back around and try to get a shot off. It's usually you're done if that happens. So having a wall that completely blocks that sight makes it very scary to want to walk through it. Because you're imagining that there's probably 1, 2, or maybe the whole other team on the other side of it. But you don't know, and there's no way to know unless you have an ability that can do a scan in some way.
Yeah, so this brings us to the initiators. So for example, Sova has like a recon do you remember
I played some Sova.
Yeah, Sova's I got so excited about Sova. Sova has a what was Hanzo's like sonic arrow?
Yeah, the recon arrow.
He's totally got a Hanzo knockoff.
I played him and I got his ult, and it is some variation or similar to Hanzo's, and I was like,
it's pretty similar.
Okay, I see this. I see you.
So it's not a total ripoff. He does have some very unique abilities that are part of his kit, but like he, for example, can send out a recon arrow. It pings a couple of times, and if an enemy is within its scope, your teammates and you will all be able to see them. Now it doesn't last very long,
right? It is very quick.
It doesn't have a huge range, so you have to really like aim those carefully, and they can be destroyed. So it just depends.
In the time that you've played with Sova, have you hit anybody with the recon arrow and does it do damage?
I truly cannot tell.
I've tried and it was never happening.
I feel like I've hit people with it and they didn't seem to take damage.
Okay.
But I genuinely don't know.
Because that was throwing me off too. I was like, this doesn't seem very...
I feel like I'm
the
not
recon
doing
is
anything.
Good, but then, I didn't really feel like I could capitalize on the recon
No,
that
the
well.
recon is definitely, you're not supposed to shoot it into people.
Yeah.
It really is for like shooting into a wall or a corner or somewhere that you just basically guarding your team from impending enemies and just figuring out where the positioning is, because it's a tactical hero shooter. So having control of the environment is very, very important, and knowing where everybody is how you win the game, basically.
Yeah.
You also do have to have good aim, a point that I struggle with consistently.
Same with me. Like I can get a couple good shots off of like a good flick or a double kill or something. I'm like, oh man, I'm feeling good. And then just nothing.
Oh yeah,
that
like I
time.
had one round where I was Sky, who is also an initiator. Her kit includes being able to send out hawks that you can activate to blind the enemy. Or your own teammates. So I actually noticed that in the corner of the screen, if you're a character that has blinding abilities and that ability does have friendly fire like Sky's does, it will tell you in the corner, you've blinded this many enemies.
Oh, that's good to know.
You've blinded this many allies.
I did not know that.
Because yes, if you're blinding yourself and your own allies, not very helpful. You really kind of want to be really strategic with it.
It's not very mindful.
I didn't initially know that. So I was just out there blinding everybody, going crazy with it.
Son of a bitch.
I bet they were like, this fucker, and I was like, I didn't know. So now I understand, you got to be careful with the strategy of it.
Because Phoenix also has a blind.
And it's
Does
the
it
same
work?
thing, yes.
Oh,
so his can also blind himself and his teammates, which is why I've noticed with him, you really want to shoot those around the corner.
Right. Well, his are the only ones, too, that I think that really you can direct, like a left or right, or to wrap around a corner kind of thing.
You want to be out in front as Phoenix, shoot it around a corner, not get yourself or your teammates behind you. Right. So it's all about like that very careful team strategy.
You're really probably supposed to have like good communication with your teammates, but like if it's us playing on a party, like we're chatting.
Yeah, we're also not going to be.
But we're not necessarily talking with the team, which would probably make it easier.
But they do have a pretty good ping system. So I've gotten a lot better about using the ping system just for saying danger over here, over here.
Which honestly, at the end of the day, that's what you need to let people know about is danger.
You can also do a bit more, a little bit more detailed pings, like, hey, I want to push A, I want to push B,
right?
Because haven't really addressed how the game is actually played, which is a couple of main, really there are only two modes to Valorant, which I initially thought was a huge detractor because I'm accustomed to Overwatch, where you have things like King of the Hill, where you've got push the payload, where you've got whatever that other fucking one was that they sunsetted. Capture the flag.
No, that wasn't in.
Well, they had it. They did have capture the flag.
That's right.
It was just the optional one in the arcade, but they did have capture the flag.
Deathmatch. There's
assault. Remember the assault maps?
Yes,
Those are the ones that didn't make it into Overwatch 2, and I liked Anubis.
They were good.
They
don't have Temple of Anubis in Overwatch 2?
They don't have Anubis.
Crime.
Right? Yeah,
that
crime.
was one of the best fucking maps.
Yeah. Then Novolskaya. I loved Volskaya.
Volskaya Industries was a great map.
Anyways,
Jesus
so
Christ.
the point is, Valorant has none of that. Valorant has two air quotes modes.
Yeah.
Unrated. Excuse me. It has three. It has ranked. It has unrated, and it has swift play. All of which are built around the same mode. They are just different levels of how try hard you want to be about it, basically. Because obviously competitive mode, people are being really serious about it. It's
Right.
all for rank and rating, blah, blah, blah. Unrated is the more expanded version of swift play, which is much shorter matches. So swift play, I think they say can run from about 5 to 15 minutes for a given match. Unrated is as much as 30 to 40 minutes per match.
And that's what we started with for the very because me, Mogan, and our friend Snooty Boots all jumped on to play it and try it out for the first time, and we started in an unrated match.
And
very
it took
first match,
fucking ever.
it was legitimately 40 minutes. I think
it was so long.
And I honestly, maybe as I spend more time in the game, but I don't understand why it has to be that long.
So let's talk about that. So
because then we played swift play, and team deathmatch, and I was like, this is where it's at.
Yeah.
Much faster, much quicker to go through stuff. But yeah, the 40-minute round was a slog.
So the primary mode, I'm not actually sure what you would even call it. I just call it the spike because
Yes.
that's the whole point. So how it works is it's teams of 5 for starters. So your team of 5 versus the enemy team of 5, and one of you starts on offense and one of you starts on defense, and then at the halfway point you switch. So the other team goes to be the attackers and the other team is the defenders.
Right.
And you are trying, at least in swift play, you are trying to get to 5 total points. Now, you can obviously lose on attack, you can lose on defense, and the other team can gain or win those points however you like. The halfway point comes at 4 for swift play. So as soon as somebody gets to, as soon as 4 rounds are played and there are 4 points either on your side, the enemy side, or divvied up in between, it switches over. And then the enemy team has the chance to either get a match-winning round, depending on how far they are ahead, or you have a chance to claw your way back from the brink of death.
Right.
It has been my experience, at least. So the way it works is if you're the attacking team, you have a thing on your side called the spike. It's a hockey puck. It's
I
a
picked
big
it up without
hockey
even
puck.
realizing it one
He
time.
walked straight
I
over
walked
it.
right straight
and I
into
think
it.
I made a comment. I was like, wow, taking the spike, Jared. And he was like, the what?
I was like,
"Bitch, the spike."
I knew everybody had to have a spike on your team, but I just like walked over and didn't notice because you can pick it up during the buy phase. It's not even
Yes,
right.
you
It's
can.
not even during
Yeah.
the main action part of it.
Yes.
So I just like walked over and picked
He
it up
just
and was
walked
like,
straight over.
whoops.
Now, I have noticed
Guess
that
I'm important now.
people seem to be very reluctant to take the spike.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of pressure behind it.
Yeah, I
There
get
is
the
a lot of
feeling
pressure
that
behind
most
it.
people don't want to be the spike carrier.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm like, oh, God, I got to be the spike carrier again, don't I? Because all of the duelists, the people that are
Right.
out there wanting to just push forward and get kills and not really be part of the team, at least on Swift Play, they don't want the spike. The spike carrier has to think about shit.
Hold you back.
Yeah, they'll hold you back. Meanwhile, I'm a sentinel, so I'm like, God damn it, I gotta take the spike again. But
It's
anyways,
just my duty.
the point is, depending on the map, there are either 2 to 3 points where you can plant the spike. So your whole goal is you want to push into one of the goal areas where you can actually plant the spike, get it into the ground, which takes a couple of seconds, and then defend it long enough for the spike to explode. It's basically like, it's not an extraction shooter because that's not really what's going on, but you're trying to get in, plant something, and then get out and live.
I would say it's similar mostly to like the Call of Duty game mode, Search and Destroy.
Search and destroy. Okay, that sounds about right. Because if you're the defending team, your goal is the reverse. You are trying to defend all 2 to 3 of those zones. Ideally prevent the enemy team from planting the spike at all. But if they do plant it, you still have the chance to defuse it. So if you can either take them all out or get them off the point long enough to defuse the spike, you win.
Which I think is an interesting thing, comparing and contrasting whenever you're on attack and defense. If you're on attack, you can win by 2 ways. You can either win by killing everybody on the enemy team or planting the spike. You don't have to do both.
You don't.
But to defend to win a round, you have to either A, kill everybody, or B, kill everybody and defuse the spike.
Yeah.
Or defuse the spike without killing everybody. But honestly, I feel like the chances of that happening are fewer and far between.
Historically speaking, once the spike is planted,
Everybody's there. Like everybody just goes right for
everybody
that
just
point.
goes right for it. This is where the tactical stuff comes into play,
okay,
because
okay.
I think this was not with you. I was on one of my solo matches, as I do. I'm just kidding. It's because nobody else is on their lunch break playing Valorant. list.
I'm usually available on my lunch break, so let me know.
It was just me and one other teammate, and we were it, and I had the spike, and I was like, we're fucked. And we were,
With that attitude, you are.
It was me as Killjoy and Omen, and I had like already used all of my Sentinel resources, and I'm not very good at aiming. So I was like, if we charge into A, where they know we're at because we're already sort of in a firefight with them, we're just gonna die. We're not gonna succeed. So while our Omen kept distracting them, I ran straight out the back, and I ran all the way around to point B, and I planted the spike, and we won.
Nice.
So they just didn't have enough time to pivot and come over and still not lose people because our Omen managed to pick a couple of them off. So sometimes splitting up the team does actually wind up being the better choice.
Right.
But it's so strongly dependent on the second-to-second developments of the game.
Yeah.
Because if you've still got a full team of 5, you have a lot more flexibility with what you're going to do than you're the last man standing.
Which is scary
and
words.
It's
You
all
hear
up
that,
to you.
and the heart rate just starts racing.
The worst part is that deaths in these rounds are permanent. So per round, when you die, you don't come back. There's no respawn. You have to wait for the next round. So if everybody else on the team is dead, you see in the corner spectators. 4, because all 4 of your teammates are looking at your screen like, don't fuck it
Just
up.
rage screaming into their microphones.
just
Fortunately,
rage
I have
screaming
muted,
into their
so it's not a
mics.
problem.
Yeah, I know. I always mute it. I'm like, I don't want to hear it. The one time I didn't mute it, actually, and I was the last player standing, a teammate did get on, and he very quietly in the mic was like, yo, Killjoy, you should actually just reverse course and go back to point A. And I was like, okay, cool. So that's what I did, and we did wind up winning.
Nice.
So I was like, okay, he gave some good advice.
Very cool.
So every now and then being on chat, or at least being able to hear chat, is helpful. I personally will never get on chat in Valorant.
That's usually
it does
me
not
with
seem like
most
that
games
kind
anyway.
of game.
I
Yeah,
just
it's going to
don't
be a
need to hear
hard
it.
pass from me,
Yeah.
bro.
So you got those modes.
Yeah.
And you got the long version of that. You got the short version of that. Which
And then
we
you
play.
have the competitive
You have
version of that, which is just
competitive.
as long as unrated but competitive.
And so we talked about this a little bit too. And only in the deathmatch rounds, you all people start with a pistol. You can choose between one of the 3 pistols: the classic one, the Frenzy, and then the Ghost, which is like a silencer one. They all have different abilities and things that you can take into account. Then, as time goes on, you advance into the next round of the game, and you will unlock another tier of weapon that you get to use.
So like the
stuff like that.
rifles, for example.
Yeah,
And then
submachine
potentially the
guns,
shotguns,
stuff like
the
that.
machine guns, the sniper rifles, that kind of stuff.
But the buying phase and everything that we've talked about only really takes place in the spike modes.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And from when I had seen a Valorant before, because I'd watched like a few streamers play it here and there, just to kind of like see what the hubbub was about. And I would always get to the buy screen, and that screen and like the inventory screen of games like Escape from Tarkov just looks so confusing at times for what you're trying to do. And so I always kind of saw that and was like, oh man, that seems like I could never, they did it so fast when the people I was watching, I could never figure out like how it really worked. But I was relieved that it's actually pretty easy.
It really is.
You can buy like some armor, usually, that's a good idea. Buy some armor. And then you can buy an ability. And then as the rounds go on,
you get more credits.
So you can afford bigger guns like the assault rifles and stuff like that and move on from just doing the pistol. But I gotta say, I feel like I'm more accurate with just straight up pistol.
Me too. I feel like most of my good kills are just with the basic ass pistol. I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
It's
Maybe
a
that's
good
just like,
pistol.
Yeah, maybe it's just beginner game sense, and we're just not good at it yet. And so it's just like adjusting to the different. But yeah, I feel way more accurate than I do with the pistol.
It is also. Oh no, please go ahead. I think you're going to touch on it.
The only thing I was going to say too, another interesting wrinkle in this game that's different from other shooters, is that you are more accurate if you are dead still.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to talk about.
And so I feel like, and then you can even like ADS down the side, which it calls steadying. Right in this game, I think, and that's allows a little bit more of a even more refined aim and everything. So it's interesting, and I'm having to train myself out of it so hardcore because I'm used to playing games like X Defiant, Call of Duty, Apex, Overwatch, where moving and gunning at the same time are go hand in hand.
It's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to stay
standing
moving.
still and taking shots. It feels very counterintuitive. So adjusting to that in the game has been a slight learning curve. But even that, like, I will stand perfectly still with an assault rifle and just like be aiming, steadying everything, and still be just bullets going everywhere around him. I pull out the pistol, it's ping, 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 done.
So the other thing to note is that depending on the weapon, especially with the rifles, for example, like the rifles, the submachine guns, anything beyond pistol is much more prone to spread. So the weapons have a ton of kickback and a lot of spread. So if you like just hold down the trigger on this on the what's it called? The Guardian, for example, which is one of the rifles. If you just hold, I like the Guardian too. The Phantom is actually my favorite though. But if you just hold down the trigger and spray your entire magazine's worth of bullets, you'll notice that your rifle just progressively goes up because of the kickback. So if you're not actively countering that by continuing to slightly aim down as you're firing off, you're going to completely miss your target after the first bullet or two.
Right.
And even then, the longer you keep going, the bigger your spread is. So you definitely can't just run and gun, and you can't even stand still and just gun.
Yeah.
You really have to be using your economy of like burst fire
Yeah.
very strategically, because otherwise you're absolutely going to miss. Now, you might still win from lucky body shots, which is how I usually get my kills.
But another part of it too, which is the thing that I'm having to learn, also really learning this, is with the mini map up in the corner. I think it's really cool that it shows and highlights your and your teammates' viewing angles,
Yes.
like what they can see. And so it's really, going around and learning. And one of the things I'm trying to really pick up on is learning the actual layouts of the maps.
Yeah.
Because with combining the no movement shooting thing for the more precision, it really is getting the smallest amount of view visible while you at the same time can see the greatest amount of map.
You want the tiniest
little
view.
thing, and you just want to see that red outline move
Yep.
into it, and you start
That's all
popping.
you want.
That's what it kind of comes down to. And so the team death matches are a little more like run and gun and stuff like that.
Those are a little wild.
That kind of lets that energy out when you need it.
They're also on much smaller maps, so it's not the same.
But for the spike-based modes and everything, learning those angles and learning to have those lines of sight and everything is just key gameplay that I'm still trying to figure out.
I mean, I was watching a Valorant video. I don't even really. Oh, it was like a tier video. So it was somebody going through and ranking all of the characters based on their opinion.
Sure.
And just the most interesting thing about that was this person was good enough at Valorant, which I gather is any amount better than us, which is not very good. But they were good enough at Valorant that they were saying, "Oh, this character is A tier because they are a must pick on Icebox and on Lotus." And I was like,
on specific maps.
On specific maps.
Interesting.
So apparently, like, if we keep at it, we will hopefully someday learn that certain characters are extremely useful on specific maps.
I'm sure. And as we unlock more of them and stuff like that, because, typical in a game like this, there are microtransactions.
Oh, yeah.
You can
There's a battle pass.
There's battle passes.
Oh, we should have started by saying it's free to play.
Oh, yeah.
we missed a big
No
one.
upfront costs.
It is a free-to-play
but yeah.
battle pass transaction type game.
And so, a lot of cosmetic stuff you can buy there. You can also like pay to unlock legends or the heroes and stuff like that. It seems though that if you just play the game, you slowly earn enough to be able to unlock
So
them.
I will comment on this because I've been playing a little bit more. So every person starts the game with 5 agents unlocked. There are 2 duelists and then 1 initiator, 1 controller, and 1 sentinel. When you finish the training mode, which is like this little milestone thing where you have to play a certain amount of games, do a certain amount of damage, etc. When you finish that mode, you get a free agent recruit token. So a normal beginner player will start with 5 and then very quickly get 6 characters. After that, you can either purchase them with real world dollars via microtransactions, or just by playing the game, you can earn like the tertiary currency called kingdom credits. Kingdom credits, it takes 8,000 of them to unlock a new character. But I've been playing pretty consistently for free for about, like we said, maybe a week and a half, possibly 2 weeks, and I already have 8,000 credits.
Oh, okay.
So it was not difficult for me to get there. If you're doing the dailies and the weekly missions, you will get a lot more kingdom credits very quickly.
Okay.
And obviously, if you win more,
It helps.
you get kingdom credits faster. So my win rate is really wonky,
Yeah.
but even then, I'm still able to unlock characters at a pretty good clip.
Great.
They actually just finished like a new character rollout for Vice.
Oh, yeah.
So you actually could unlock Vice for free just by getting enough XP within the time frame, which
that's cool.
we were really late to the game, and I still had time to
nice.
unlock Vice.
I don't
so
think I did.
actually, no, you missed it.
I missed it big
But I
time.
was like, oh, okay. I feel like with the weeklies, because they give you a huge boost in XP, it seemed really doable, and it was.
Nice.
So I'm not sure how frequently they do sort of agent promos like that. Vice was new, so I feel like the other characters are not going to be like
what
that.
Apex does, like when new characters come out, or they would like do a or rework of a character and like give them new abilities or different bursts and nuffs. Bursts and nuffs?
Burfs and nuffs, yeah!
Nerfs and buffs.
No, it's burfs and nuffs now.
Then they would like roll out a new version of it and unlock the character. Like if you got a certain amount of challenges, completed challenges with the character in the time that you had that free unlock, you could get the character. They did that with like Revenant, and I want to say Rampart, maybe, but I don't remember exactly. But anyway, so there was something else I was going to say about the transactions and different stuff like that. Definitely doesn't seem like pay to win stuff. It's all like cosmetics. There have been a few guns and stuff that I have seen. I'm like, ooh, shit, I might need to get those skins. They look nice.
I honestly, I'm enjoying it enough, and it is a free-to-play game.
You might buy a battle pass next season.
I do believe in supporting developers of games that you like, so I might actually buy the paddle pass.
No, it's the paddle pass now.
The paddle pass. I might buy the battle pass because I'm enjoying the game, and some of those gun skins are really cool.
I saw one
and
that
I
was
just
like
want
a
them.
dragon that like moves around. I was like, God damn it,
That's cool.
So, but what's funny too is like like I said, the three of us were playing that first game and everything.
And we were so unsure.
I was like, if this is all this game is, I'm done. I'm not about this.
I was really negative on it too. That first day, I was like, I don't know about this.
We were like, I don't know about this. Why did this one match take 40 minutes? Because that's the thing, like we've talked about recently a lot with like games just taking time for the rounds, just too long to make it feasible to play. And so I was just like, damn it, here's another one. But then we found the other modes, and immediately, like as soon as we played Swift Play, which was the shorter round, and then Team Deathmatch, we were like, nope, this is fun. This is into it. We're into it.
Also, I just want to be clear, there is both a team and a non-team deathmatch.
A free-for-all.
So free-for-all. So if you don't want to be on a team at all, there is a mode.
Which I want to try that out, because I like doing the free-for-alls every once in a while, like Call of Duty. I really like it.
I am so bad at killing.
I don't think I'll be good enough.
No, I'm not good enough.
But I want to try it.
People be killing me right, left, and center. And so frequently, especially in Swift Play, I'm like, I don't even know what hit me.
Because they got those lines of sight. I
truly don't even know what hit me. Or like with characters like Yoru, for example, or Omen, they actually can sort of sneak up on you via their abilities. So they might come out of literally nowhere and just kill you behind your back. And you're like, what fucking got me? I don't know.
There have been many times, I feel like even when we were playing the other day, I just kept getting killed. I was like, what?
What is getting me?
Where did that come from?
But before we move on from the conversation about agents, I do want to follow up on that with one of my biggest critiques of the game, which is that there is no built-in way to, in an organic fashion, test an agent before you buy them.
Oh, you just have to do the...
So here's the thing. There is a custom mode, so you could theoretically build a mode where you can fight against bots, but you can still only use agents that you've unlocked. And now you might be saying, oh, but there's practice mode.
That doesn't give a full...
Practice mode is very limited, and this is my primary complaint. So you can go to practice mode, and you can go to the built-in shooting ranges, and there's a little bit of a map out there that you can sort of play around on for all of the characters' abilities, and then to test out the different weapons that you can just purchase in every game. So it's kind of good for that, but the thing is, when you don't have other players, or even just other bots, when you don't have other bots interacting with your special abilities, it's really hard to get an understanding of what exactly that does to help you out. Now, it's becoming more clear of what's the purpose of the smokes, how to use your walls, so you pick up a little bit of that just by playing the game and observing how your other teammates use their abilities after you're dead, which is very helpful. But even so, I hate not being able to try, even just in a versus AI match, of how I just want to try out this character. I just want to see how they actually work. in real-time combat against other bots and understand how they like what's their flow, how are you supposed to use this character. And I hate that you cannot
Gotta
do
spend
that.
those bucks. Gotta spend those Emperor coins.
I hate that though. Like the fact that it's not even really part of like a fully fleshed out practice mode is extremely annoying to me. And I just want to clarify again, I know that you can kind of do this through the custom mode, but I think it is horse apples that there isn't a built-in practice versus AI mode. There is specifically for Phoenix for the first for the training character. But that's not the same.
Yeah.
It is not the same, and it really pisses me off. I feel like that's something that should be part of the game.
Just not playing anymore. Uninstalling.
Because it's like, they were promoting Vice, and I'm like, I don't even know if I want Vice because I can't figure out what her kit does.
And it's an investment. Like, I haven't gone to see, like, what the actual, like, if you bought it with real world money, they do care to, like, what they actually cost, but, like, that's usually not cheap. So,
I want to say it's $10.
That's what I was about to say. Like Apex was usually about $10 for a new hero.
Because the battle pass is $10. I think to unlock an agent with real world money, it's $10.
Okay, see, $10 for battle pass, that's not bad.
It's not. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
the worst,
I mean that's what like Apex Battle Pass was back in the day.
Now I don't know if it does the kind of thing where you can earn in-game credits through the battle pass to help with the purchase of a future one. I don't think you can.
Okay.
Because what I've been observing with the current battle pass is that the premium drops that I haven't been getting, they're not dropping like the premium version of the currency. They're dropping the radiant points, which radiant points can be used for you to get different versions of weapon skins.
Okay.
Which that's nice. I mean, there's
so
something
you
for
can
you
buy,
to
like,
use it on.
skins and stuff.
You can't
Weapon skins.
You can buy variants
okay.
of weapon
Not the
skins.
main
You
ones.
can't actually buy the weapon skins. You have to get them through the battle pass, and then you can get the colored variants by using the radiant points.
I see,
which you
I see.
also get through the battle pass. So I don't think that you can use radiant points or kingdom credits towards the battle pass. I think you have to do. I could be wrong about that, but I think you have to do the premium currency for that, which means real world dollars.
Right.
TLDR. So I'm not going to pretend like I love battle pass systems because I don't.
Right.
But it is I will fully say this right up front. It's a fun game.
Oh,
I'm having
it's a fun game.
I'm having a fun time out there.
Yeah, it's fun.
Even when I fuck up and spend most of the match dead, I'm still having fun.
Well, and I will say that, like, normally modes like that, like, or games, like even like Rainbow Six Siege, where it is more of the round based, you die once and you don't have the respawn. I usually avoid those just because I get bored, like, because I'm usually dead a lot.
Yeah.
And so, but this one does kind of like fill that. Not quite the Overwatch itch,
but it's the closest.
But it's like
I've
the
found.
closest we found to it, yeah. And it's like different gameplay modes that when it came out, and even seeing stuff of like Counter-Strike being played, like it looked fun. And I wanted to try it out, but so now it's fun that we have a little group doing it too. So
nice.
let us know, everybody, if you jump on the Valorant train too, or you're already on the Valorant train. But specifically, if you're on the PS5 Valorant,
we only have room for one more on our team. So we already have 4 players.
taking applications now.
We have room for one more. But the final thoughts that I just sort of want to share on Valorant are that, and this is just related to how the parts of the game that I find are fun.
Sure.
I actually really like that it, in a lot of cases, especially if you're on defense, but also to a lesser extent if you're on offense, I like the tension of waiting for the battle to start, because it really is about optimizing your placement. And then there is so much, like, my biggest problem is I am still so prone to initiating the fight. Like, I'm prone to running out there and starting shit, when what I should have done was stay put and wait for them to cross my path and then start the fire on my terms.
Yeah.
So it's been really fun actually learning more of that, just learning a different way of playing the game than I am used to at all. This is a first for me. I'm not a very tactical person at all. I'm pretty smooth brain. So it's a very different experience, but I am really liking it.
Nice.
So Valorant for PS5.
Try it out.
Honestly, it's free to try out.
Yeah.
You get those 5 free people at the start, and then you can
basically
probably
get
get
a
another
6th,
one
like,
for
really
free.
easy.
So would recommend at least for a try.
Yep.
Maybe it's for you, maybe it's not. do start with Swift Play.
Do
Don't
not
start
do
with unrated.
because unless you're sitting there ready, like, yeah, I got 40 minutes of free time, I can try this out real quick. Don't play the unrated.
Also,
do Swift Play.
if you're a brand new player and you get into a 40-minute match and the other 4 people on your team gather pretty quickly that you're brand new, they're probably going to be a little pissed off.
Just a little
They're
bit.
going to be like,
a little
really,
bit, because
really,
that's
bro.
a commitment of time.
You come in here with your level 1.
We just kept going. It just like it would go like we had 12 points in like or something like that, and it hadn't even switched rounds to be where we defending yet. And then it
was
finally
so
did, and I
long.
was like, wait, what? It just
One
was
quick
so long.
one quick note that is at least unique to Valorant from all of the other games that I've played. If you have levers, or even just if your team is epically failing, you do have the option to nominate a surrender.
Oh, okay.
So, like, if 2 people on your team DC and it's just you and the other 2 guys, and you're like, well, there's no way we're going to win. We're already 3 points down. You can go to the start screen and hit surrender. It will ask the other people on your team, do you want to vote yes or no to surrender?
Oh, that's nice.
If enough people vote yes, you can exit the game without paying the penalty.
Oh,
you
that's
can
nice.
surrender. I think that is an
That is a
S-tier
good
mode. Yeah.
Sometimes I see that in
Option, excuse me.
there was some game I was just playing it where it was like you could say the game, you could count the game. Man, which game was it?
X Defiant?
I don't think it was X Defiant, but it would basically be that like you had a lever, you can match write this game off like it's not going to affect your stuff.
I would have loved that feature back in the days of competitive Overwatch.
Yeah.
Because how many times
God,
were we
so
in a
many
competitive
times.
game and we would have a lever and be totally fucked, and you just had to play it out.
Yeah.
I would have chosen to surrender in a lot of those cases. So I appreciate that it is a time saver for if you definitely know that you're going to lose.
Yep, which is good for us.
It's good for us.
It's good for us. All right, everybody. Well, yeah, let us know if you've been playing Valorant. Send us an email at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts, or join the Discord, talk about it with us there. Write it below in the comments wherever you're listening to or watching the show. We would love to hear from you. Give us your best stats, I guess, or something like that, or tips, honestly, because we need all the tips.
Which characters are you playing?
Which characters are you
I want to
bringing
know.
and stuff like that.
I've got enough for another character unlock, and I don't know who to get. I'm facing
nice.
decision paralysis.
And you've got a lot. Like I don't know the full number of heroes, but there are quite a few, right? Like
there
20-ish?
are, okay, so on the home screen, they're 4 deep and 5 long. So
like
yeah, 20, and then there's 1 extra page for Yoru because in alphabetical
new.
order he's last. So I think there's 21 agents right now.
Okay, nice. So yeah, good healthy amount to pick through. So let us know who you're picking. But with that, everybody, that concludes this episode of Team Chat Podcast. Thanks for sticking around as we recap the state of play and our first impressions of Valorant. And with that, we will see you all on the next episode. But until then, I'm one of your hosts, Jarrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Adios.
We'll see you all next time.